Yeah. Let's talk about your business right now because, once again, it is a male-dominated field that you're both in. So what made you decide, like, you know what, this is what I want to do in my life? Start with you, Tap.
Well, you know, you introduced me as an entertainment attorney, which is accurate, but I'm also a sports agent. So I'm certified as a football and basketball agent. So what made me decide to become an entertainment attorney was because I just decided I didn't want to wake up and go to a job that I hated. I wanted to couple what I loved and what I had a passion for and make some money doing it.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Love that. What about you, Court?
Same thing. Passion is key, you know, and I just loved sports medicine. I had a friend of mine who was injured at a young age, and I took him to rehab. And when I went there, the first thing I said was, wow, this is cool. I was an athlete in high school, and I've always had aspirations to be a doctor. So being able to put both of those together, I started studying sports medicine. And it just pretty much took off, and the passion and the drive for it was what, you know, really kept me going.
You both mentioned passion and drive. That's amazing. Now, you said you played sports in high school. Do you have a sports background as well?
Oh, God, no.
No?
No. I watched it. I cheered from the sidelines.
Yeah.
But I didn't play at all.
So where did that passion for sports come from then?
I've been just a big cheerleader of sports.
Okay.
I sang in a church choir. That's about as much talent as as I have. But I'm just a big sports fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it came from.
Now tell us some of the obstacles that you face as a woman in what is a male-dominated industry.
Well, I knew you would ask that question. But what's interesting is my path is probably just a little different than most. I started a career actually when I was in undergrad, hauling federal prisoners around. So I worked for the U.S. Marshal Service.
Hold on. What? Hauling prisoners? Oh, okay.
I did. I was in school in San Antonio, Texas, and heard about this opportunity and thought, this is pretty cool. So I'm accustomed to doing jobs that are dominated by men. And so what I do now, there are some challenges, but it's just natural. It's what I do. If there's an easy path and there's a harder path, I feel like I just take that harder path.
Oh, this lady was a U.S. Marshal.
Wow.
She had to get people together. Like she had to go track them down like U.S. Marshal, like Tommy Lee Jones.
I was tracking them down. I was taking them on airplanes. I was
snatching them up if they got out of line.
I did, patting them down, putting them in cell blocks.
So you have no problem in this industry at all?
Well, I don't want to say at all.
Well, not
but just not. You know, here's. I'll tell you a funny story though.
Okay.
What I do get is, let's say I walk into a gym or something with basketball players. What I get is, are you their mother? And I just kind of.
Why not the sister? Why you got to be the mama though?
Well,
you can be the sister. You look young enough to be the sister.
Yeah.
How do you handle that when that happens?
I just smile and say, no, I'm the agent. And because what I'm trying to do is also establish a rapport with whoever it is. If I'm taking them to a gym with someone, I want to establish a rapport. So I'm never trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm never trying to embarrass anyone. I've exchanged text messages with like scouts, and you know they'll say yeah my man, and then I sent back like the female emoji, and he's like, oh, my lady. I was like, not a problem. Sent your LinkedIn request just so that you see I'm definitely a lady. But that's probably the biggest thing that I get, and there's some men who probably are like, but they're never going to. I get more help.
Yeah.
I think actually I'm able to use it to my advantage because I'm able to get people to say, let me help you. You know, so I'll be a damsel in distress. If my client can get on a team and because you help me because I'm a damsel in distress, we all win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give a round of applause for that. Courtney, you had a sports background. Did you grow up around a lot of guys? Did you have brothers, a lot of brothers, your uncles, whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up around sports. My family has been involved in the sport of boxing and baseball for a very long time since I was coming up. And it's just, you know, the love and the drive and the passion that I had for not only the sports but the medical side has allowed me to work alongside of some of them as well in the profession. I'm an athletic trainer for a lot of professional boxers, as well as the head athletic trainer for the Los Angeles Sparks, the WNBA team that's here in LA. But yeah, I've been around a lot of men, and just understanding the path is, I really get that it's about the knowledge. You have to know what you're doing. You know, a lot of people see our job and think it's just fun and games. No, it takes a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of commitment and dedication, you know, that goes with it.
And your boxing background, you got a pretty popular, I believe, uncle that's in the game as well that helps with promotion out there. I won't throw it out there, but at the same time, you actually helped train, I believe, or you was involved with somebody named Floyd Mayweather at one time or another. Who was that experience like?
A wonderful experience. You know, still work with him as well. He's a great guy, great athlete. I mean, he's just, it's hard to even describe the type of training and the type of dedication that he has. He uses the term hard work and dedication, and that is the epitome of Floyd. He trains 20 hours. I say, we were just talking about it a few days ago. Some days we're up for about 20 hours a day. You know, maximum time I've ever spent awake hours is about 50 hours within 2 days of just, you know, training and doing therapy and making sure that he's eating the right thing and staying hydrated and watching him run. And, you know, it's just a lot that goes into, you know, him having a 50-0 type of record that he has.
No, and I've been in sports for 25 years, so I've seen all of this play out right now. One thing that people don't realize about your jobs, not just the athlete's job, but your job in particular, you guys are on call 24/7. You got to go when Floyd's ready to train. You got to train with Floyd. If your client gets in trouble, he's got to be able to call you anytime, any place, even if you're on vacation.
Yes, and they're not always. It's not always about them being in trouble. How you doing? What you doing?
What you doing?
Have you heard anything? Can you? It is a 24/7 job. So you really have to. For me, I don't know about most, but I really have to like the people that I represent, because if you're going to interrupt my vacation and my family time, I really do want to like you. I really do.
It's not just about the money.
Right, and I really do have a passion for not just the job, but for the people who I serve. Because to me, it is service. Because while I'm an agent, while I'm an attorney, it's a service industry, and people are always free to go someplace else. So I take great pride in the excellence and in the service that we provide.
That's good.
So,
I think that definitely deserves a round of applause. That in lies with the passion that you spoke about earlier. But Tabitha, I want to change directions. When you're brokering these deals for athletes, do you find that our black athletes are getting the same as some of their counterparts or other race athletes?
Well, no. Here is what I found. I found that the client brings the clout.
Okay.
So one of my clients is a famous rapper. So on the entertainment side is a famous rapper. And I assure you that there are things that he can get or I can push for to get in a deal that I can't get for my my baby act.
Okay.
So I think that the client brings the clout, and every deal is unique. And so you have to really step back and assess what that client needs, what that client wants, and then go after it, go get it.
I want to get into the points because this is what we have you on here for. I can talk for days to agents. I can talk to days to athletic trainers. I can get men up here to talk about this. I want to talk about things that are unique to you two, because that's why we have you on here. Because outside of racism, what's the biggest problem that we have in this country outside of racism? Sexism, misogyny. And being a black woman in this country is hard, period. Being a black woman in a male-dominated industry is almost impossible. So I want to talk about the things that you guys have to go through. So when you first tell somebody that you're an athletic trainer, I know more and more black athletic trainers are around there, but when you tell somebody you're an athletic trainer and you're working with men, what's the reaction that you get?
Well, when you hear the word trainer, a lot of people think either a personal trainer or in the sport of boxing, it's the one that's sitting there teaching you how to throw that. So that's the first thing that people say, really? You're teaching us how to box? No, I'm not teaching you how to box. And then I have to really kind of go into explaining what sports medicine is and athletic trainers and what we do. And they're still really surprised because I actually haven't met a woman in boxing. There's a few that are coming along the way, but in the professional sport of boxing, there's not only just that athletic trainer presence, but the women presence, and then the African American women at the same time. It's like you just don't see us, you know. So a lot of times they think that we're just a part of a crew of people, you know, that are just there as spectators or, you know, friends or fans of it. And you know, when you understand the role of it until something actually happens, that's when they kind of say, oh, we get it. You know, someone gets busted in the nose or, you know, they roll their ankle or something, they come see that we're the first person as soon as an injury happens, you know, that's when they start to kind of understand, like, but again, knowledge is the key because you have to know what you're doing.
Right, right.
You have to be professional, and that's the thing that as a woman, we really have to make sure that we're, you know, focusing on when we're handling this professional level of care.
And that's extra pressure, though. Think about this, because you got to know what you're doing, first and foremost, and we know that you know what you're doing. You got the credentials, you got the background or whatever, but at the same time, there's doubt in people's minds. We know in this country a lot of times that we have to do twice as much as the work in order to get the same amount of pay or whatever, and still don't get the same amount of respect. Does that affect you sometimes?
Oh yeah, it does.
How?
Like, I assure you that when most folks are asleep, I'm up. I'm awake, I'm working because I'm either reading something, I'm studying up on something, because I've got to be a step ahead of the person that's next to me. Whether it's another agent, whether it's another attorney, or whether it's, you know, I got a return phone call one time from a GM of a basketball team because I left a message and I made a note about something that I noticed. And he said, I called you back. No, I don't have a roster spot available, but I called you back because you paid attention to this particular detail and you pointed this out. And the best part about it now is if I have a player, I call him now and I say, hey, I've got this player. Don't know what your roster is looking like, but let me know if there's any interest. And so what it did, though, was it opened a door for there to be rapport.
Right, right.
So I'm able to I will always try to take something negative and turn it around and make it a positive.
It's about gaining that respect.
Oh, yeah.
It's about gaining that respect, building up that equity when it comes to, absolutely.
And building those relationships, like you said, you because you were up and you put in that work, you were able to open a door and now have that relationship. That's key. That's key right there. Courtney, what would you say is a lesson that you would tell your younger self when you first coming into this industry?
That's a great question. You know, I would really say just stay focused. Yeah. I think a lot of times, you know, I'm a teacher at heart and I like to give and share, and that's kind of the nature of the business that I'm in as well. But the focus that a lot of the young people have kind of tends to get a little misconstrued or kind of scrambled up. I think really having a path, a lot of people don't have that they really tend to focus on. So I would really just say, the sky is the limit, you know, never underestimate yourself and how much you put into your craft as you study. And, you know, I'm working on my PhD, my doctorate degree right now in athletic training. Yep. Almost done, a couple more months left, and I'm just looking forward to that. But I've challenged myself to reach that highest level of education and really allow myself to be successful in that way that I can teach others, but I can also share and give and really focus on the care of the athlete. And I think the most common ground for my athletes is that they know that I care about them and their well-being and making sure that their health is consistent and that they can progress and play like they want to. And on that level, it's important. You know, you can't have the athlete out there running around if they're not healthy enough. So you have to have somebody that you trust. And so I really pride myself on creating the relationship and building and staying forth with networking and caring more about the athlete, like you were saying earlier, because that is really what drives that platform.
Isn't that one of the advantages, though, of being a woman in this industry? Is that a lot of times, like as a guy, I trust women more so than I trust men. To be quite honest with you, am I right about that? If you're a guy you trust, you just innately trust a woman because your mom's a woman, so you automatically trust. Do you find that being the case?
Oh, I can show you my phone, and I can tell you that almost every player that I represent, I also have a relationship with their mother. Moms will call and check in. I tell the moms, he's 15 now, I have a 15-year-old son. I have a 20-some-year-old daughter. But, I'm a mom too. So I get it and I understand. And so I'm going to treat your child how I would want someone to treat my child. And so there is a relationship intact with most of the moms. Because